Hi Amy, this is Mrs. Skogland just giving some feedback on your focus questions. One thing I noticed right off the bat is we do need a header appear with your last name and the page number, so make sure to have that in future. On to your first question, I think you've done a nice job explaining the Rosetto mystery, and you've given some examples from the text, like they had these unhealthy habits, but they cooked dinner for each other, they talked to their neighbors, so they had that community aspect, so that's really good. I think that you could have probably done more on this overarching idea about success, because yes, you're correct, success has to be analyzed to find patterns, but I think Gladwell is also making this claim that, like the Rosetta mystery, we have to look outside the individual to the culture and the community and those impacts that can happen with outliers, so maybe just making that connection. As far as style goes, good word choice, ontological, nice. I do see a comma splice right here where you have this little town had something that had been forgotten in many other places. They had community. Notice that on either side of that, that's an independent clause, meaning it could stand alone as a sentence. So you need a stronger punctuation there, not just a comma. You need like a semicolon or a period. We'll work with that this year, but I just want to point that out to you. Okay, Amy, I'm down here on question number 3. I think that you eventually got to the heart of the question, but it took you a little bit to work toward the answer that I'm kind of looking for. Really, this sentence did it. Maturity gets mixed around with talent. I think that's what we're going for with writing people off as failures, and the point that Malcolm Gladwell is making is that we kind of set dates or set programs that don't actually measure talent. They measure other things, and so I think I was hoping you would get to that, and you eventually did, but kind of up here there were some generalizations, and so I would have liked for you to hit home with that earlier. I do think that your example is good, the school example, but again, I think being more concrete would have made your answer stronger, so the smarter kids get a special group. Okay, like in what? In math? In, like, what are you talking about? But I do agree with you at the end. They're pertinent to a child's path to success. One thing we do want to watch out for, and I noticed this in your first answer too, remember period goes inside the quote marks, and also you used second person somewhere in here, if I can find it. School's another place where you see this scenario, so we want to avoid switching to second person and using that. Okay, Amy, I'm on number 5. I think you've done overall a nice job explaining the examples and kind of the crux of this question. So you go through each example, which is really good and shows me that you've read the text. And I like that at the end you connect back to every successful individual started with practice. And so that's obviously what Malcolm Gladwell is getting at. So overall, I would say a strong response here. Okay, Amy, I'm on question 7. I think overall you got to the point I was wanting you to make, which is that they had these different types of intelligence, and so despite their similarities, Oppenheimer's culture and background allowed him to get his point across and got exceptions for him. They had the same intentions, they had similar intelligence, but yeah, you're right, Oppenheimer was able to make those reality. I do think that you may have misread the text a little bit. Where was that? Langan still works with physics because he's passionate about what he's doing. Oppenheimer didn't enjoy what he was doing and went crazy and tried to poison his tutor. I don't think that it ever says that he didn't enjoy what he was doing, and actually I think Oppenheimer quite enjoyed what he was doing. He just didn't agree with that particular tutor and tried to poison him. So I'd be careful about making claims like that, because I think that is a misreading of the text. Alright, Amy, last one on number 9. I think you've made some nice connections in here, like a wet rice farmer is getting more than just rice. They are learning to work hard. However, I think you've missed kind of the basic point of this question, which Malcolm Gladwell actually states in the wet rice farmer chapter, which is that the farmers put in more than 3,000 hours a year. So if you're connecting that to the 10,000 hour rule, that should show you that it doesn't take them any time at all to become experts. And I think you sort of touched on that, but I would have liked to see you make that connection more clearly. So overall, some good responses. I think sometimes you kind of dance around your point, and I'd like for you to just come out more clearly and address that prompt in the future.